Hello, Pojo. This is one who said malicious. I'm pretty much filming the first episode of my latest video guide called The Hunting Ground, featuring none other than Harpie Ladies, one of Yu-Gi-Oh's oldest archetypes, and the archetype used by a famous character called My Valentine. And pretty much, just like all my other video guides, I'll be teaching players that have no idea about the Harpie decks how to play a Harpie deck, and I'm also going to be sharing a lot of experiences, not only from my own experiences with the deck, but experiences from other players that use the deck, and basically just give you ways, a lot of different ways of how to build your own Harpie deck, and so you can use it effectively in your tournaments, and possibly even win a couple of locals, maybe a regional, who knows, maybe even a YCS. So first things first, we're gonna go over the basics of our Harpie deck, and I'm gonna be talking about pretty much all the Harpie monsters that are used in a Harpie deck, and also some other off-theme support, like some monster cards that could fit in with Harpie decks, and you might be seeing them across different other Harpie decks from other players, and possibly even some ideas that you already had in mind. But let's start with pretty much the Harpie Ladies. The card Harpie Lady, the interesting thing about the card Harpie Lady is the fact that she is actually 5 different cards. Here in front of me are the 4 different Harpie Ladies, and then there's a 5th Harpie Lady called Cyber Harpie Lady, which I'm going to be discussing in a moment. But let's start with the original Harpie Lady, which is the vanilla Harpie Lady. By the way, a little Spanish lesson for you guys. Harpie Lady is Dama Arpia in Spanish. And basically, this is the vanilla one, nothing special, just 300 attack, 1300 attack, 1400 defense, and that kind of stat spreads along the other 3 Harpie Ladies I'm going to be discussing shortly. The only one that doesn't have this attack and defense stat is Cyber Harpie Lady. Then we go to Harpie Lady number 1, which is basically one of the most used Harpie Ladies. The reason being is because her effect pretty much increases the attack of every wind monster on the field by 300 points, and not just Harpie Ladies. So it gives a boost to other wind monsters that you might have in your deck, and also it gives even boost to Harpie's pet dragon, which I'm going to be talking about later. Then Harpie Lady number 2. Her effect is when she destroys a monster by battle, if it was a flip effect monster, it negates the effect. For example, if she destroys a Rico, the Lightsworn Hunter, it negates the effect of the Rico and doesn't allow it to pop a card in the field. Then we got Harpie Lady number 3, which pretty much is when she gets attacked over and she's sent to the graveyard as a result of battle, the monster that attacked Harpie Lady number 3 cannot attack for 2 consecutive turns. For example, if a Crimson Blader attacks over Harpie Lady number 3, then that Crimson Blader will not be able to attack for 2 more turns, which will render him pretty much useless. And then we got our 5th Harpie Lady, which is Cyber Harpie Lady. And pretty much Cyber Harpie Lady is when Harpie Lady equips the famous equip card called Cyber Shield. In the anime, basically, Mai used a card called Cyber Shield to pump the attack of her Harpie Ladies, making them much stronger. And Cyber Shield basically increases the attack points of a Harpie Lady by 500 points, and that's what you get in Cyber Harpie Lady. You know, the difference between a normal Harpie Lady and Cyber Harpie Lady is exactly 500 attack points, which is the meaning behind equipping Cyber Shield. Cyber Harpie Lady and Harpie Lady number 1 are the most used Harpie Lady cards. Some people use Cyber Harpie Lady because they like, you know, when they're using a Harpie Lady deck that has a lot of traps in it, well, they use Cyber Harpie Lady. But if they're using a Harpie Lady deck that focuses more on like Hysteric Party and swarming the field, then they would use Harpie Lady number 1, because multiple Harpie Lady number 1s boost the attacks of all wind monsters on the field by 300 or 600 or even 900 points if all 3 Harpie Lady 1s are on the field. They also boost each other at the same time. So if you have 2 Harpie Lady number 1s, they will be boosting each other 600 attack points, and it will be both at 1900 instead of 1600 each. So that's also the great thing about Harpie Lady number 1. But yeah, in control builds, you would use Cyber Harpie Lady, and then in swarm builds, you would use Harpie Lady number 1. Okay? Alright, perfect. Let's then pick this up, and let's move on to the next Harpie cards. We got Harpie Queen, or Reina Arpia in Spanish. pretty beautiful right there. I like it. And basically, Harpie Queen is a very simple card. You discard this card from your hand, and you search for the field spell card, Harpie's Hunting Ground. You search for this. You discard this to the graveyard, and you search this from your deck into your hand. But the great thing about Harpie Queen is that she is actually standalone, the strongest Harpie. She sits at 1900 attack, and pretty much it's our strongest Harpie card, and in most cases is the one that's used as a beater. It's also basically in a control build is your second beater, side by side with Cyber Harpie Lady, and then pretty much in a swarm deck it's also it provides that extra oomph, like extra power that you need to get over stuff. For example, if you have Cyber Harpie Lady, Harpie Queen next to 3 Harpie Lady 1s, then Harpie Queen is getting boosted by 900 attack points, so that would mean that you have a 2800 Harpie Queen right there. That's a pretty big monster. So pretty much, Harpie Queen is really good. And the great thing about Harpie Queen, along with the other Harpie cards that I'm going to be discussing along the way, is that its last effect says that it's considered a Harpie Lady card in the field and in the graveyard. So basically, this Harpie Lady, pretty much it can be used for the effects of Hysteric Party. It can be used for the effects of Elegant Egotist, which I will be discussing in another video. But that's the cool thing, to just discard a discard Harpie Queen from your hand to the graveyard, get a Harpie's Hunting Ground, and it's also a 1900 beater, and it pretty much is Harpie Lady on the field and in the graveyard. Let's go to the next card, Harpie's Pet Dragon. By the way, this is my secret Forbidden Memories Harpie's Pet Dragon, and pretty much this is Harpie's Pet Dragon. It's a pretty iconic card. It's one of my Valentine's strongest cards in her deck. And the thing is that Harpie's Pet Dragon, the reason he was so strong in the anime is because he got boosted by 300 attack points, attack and defense, for every Harpie Lady card on the field. So if you had Harpie's Pet Dragon and 4 more Harpie Ladies, you had Harpie's Pet Dragon that was at 3,200 and at 3,700 defense. So that was pretty hefty right there. But Harpie's Pet Dragon now has much more importance than just being a big beat stick on the field. And it's the fact that Harpie's Pet Dragon enables other cards like Harpie Challenger, which I'll be talking about in a moment, and it pretty much has a lot of synergy with them due to the fact that he's level 7, and it will allow some pretty powerful plays that I'm going to be discussing in a moment. Let's put him over here for now. Meet Harpie Challenger, basically Harpie's Pet Dragon's best friend. It's these two cards go uno a uno. They go hand in hand, and basically Harpie Challenger is pretty much like a summoner monk for Harpies. You discard a Harpie card, any card by the way. It could be a spell or a monster or a trap card that says Harpie in its name. You discard it to the graveyard, and you summon any Harpie monster. It doesn't have to be Harpie Lady. Any Harpie monster from your deck to the field and face up defense position. So basically, the most common play out there for Harpie Challenger would be discarding a Harpie card. For example, let's say discard a Harpie's Hunting Ground, you discard it to the graveyard, and then you summon a Harpie's Pet Dragon, and then, thanks to Harpie's Pet Dragon being on the field, her second effect kicks in, which is when a dragon monster is present on the field, face up, Harpie Challenger's level becomes level 7. So basically, you will have Harpie's Pet Dragon and Harpie Challenger. They will both be level 7, and it will let you do, for example, it will let you overlay them for a rank 7, like for example, number 74, Master of Blades, or in the case of, if you have the cards already or you have money, then obviously Big Eye, which is also rank 7, and Mecha Phantom Beast Draco Sack, which is also rank 7. We will be going over these in a second. Okay. But yeah, pretty much it's very simple. It's also like Harpie Queen, she's treated as a Harpie Lady on the field, and it's also treated as a Harpie Lady in the graveyard, so she can also be revived by Hysteric Party, and you can use Elegant Egotist when you have her on the field, which is also very good. Let's go then to the next card. Harpie Dancer. This is basically our latest, newest Harpie card. And pretty much Harpie Dancer, her effect is a little bit complicated, but it's not that hard to explain. Pretty much Harpie Dancer, what she does is she targets a wind monster. She doesn't have to target a Harpie card, just have to target a wind monster on the field, and she will put that wind monster on the field back to your hand. So for example, if you use Harpie Dancer's effect to target herself, because she's a wind monster, she will go to your hand, and then immediately after she goes to your hand, you can normal summon another wind monster, not necessarily a Harpie card, from your hand. So you could go, for example, Harpie Dancer, normal summon Harpie Dancer, use her effect to go back to the hand, and then you can normal summon Harpie Channeler to your field, or you could summon like a normal wind monster, like for example Miss Valley Soldier. You can summon him into the field, and then you can use him to synchro with another Harpie card you have on the field or something like that. The great thing about Harpie Dancer, it's pretty much in its most basic form, is that, by the way, since she's also treated as a Harpie Lady card face up on the field or in the graveyard, well, if you have Harpie's Hunting Ground, you can go Harpie Dancer, you summon her, blow up one spell or trap card on the field, and then you can send her you can send her to your hand with Harpie Dancer's effect, and you can summon her again, and thanks to Hunting Ground, you can blow up another spell or trap card on the field. Which is pretty much you can blow up 2 spell trap cards for the price of 1 card. But she's also has a lot of synergy with cards like Divine Wind of Miss Valley, which I'm going to be going over that in another video. Alright, so that's pretty much all the Harpie cards, but there's one left, which is Harpie's Pet Baby Dragon. And Harpie's Pet Baby Dragon is pretty much it's kind of like Harpie's Pet Dragon, but it's a miniature version. And then basically it has 3 different effects. It's based on the number of Harpie Lady cards you got on the field. The first effect is your opponent cannot select Harpie monsters you control as attack targets, except Harpie's Pet Baby Dragon. So basically they have to attack Harpie's Pet Baby Dragon. They cannot attack any other Harpie Lady cards on your field. As long as he's on the field, as long as Harpie's Pet Baby Dragon is on the field and other Harpie Ladies are on the field. Then if you have 2 or more Harpie Lady cards face up on the field while he's on the field, his attack and defense are doubled. So he will be at 2400 attack and 1200 defense. And then finally, if there are 3 or more Harpie Lady cards on the field face up when he's on the field, once per turn you can destroy 1 card your opponent controls. Not pretty bad. You know, the only thing about this card is that, I mean, some people run it because it's pretty much a discard fodder for Harpie Channeler, and you can do some cool tricks with it when you have Hysteric Party and stuff like that. But basically, Harpie's Pet Baby Dragon obviously is a good card, but it's also very dependent on the number of Harpie cards you got on the field. So if you want to make the most out of this card, you gotta have a lot of Harpie Ladies. That's the only thing that I'm gonna say about that. And then finally, we got Harpie Lady Sisters, which is like the combination of all 3 Harpie Ladies: Harpie Lady 1, Harpie Lady 2, and Harpie Lady 3. And basically, Harpie Lady Sisters, instead of being 3 different cards on the field, it joins them in 1 card. And pretty much, I mean, it has a decent attack and decent defense, but to be honest, it's rarely used in Harpie decks. Unless you want to do some kind of like rank 6 XYC Harpie deck. That's like the only reason I can see this happening. But Harpie Lady Sisters right now is not being that used. Also, the problem with Harpie Lady Sisters is that you cannot normal summon it, or you cannot set it. You can only special summon it via Elegant Egotist. So if you don't have Elegant Egotist, this card cannot be used. Okay? Alright, so that's all the Harpie cards. I'm going to be moving on to some monsters you could see in different Harpie decks. For example, Miss Valley Soldier, which I made reference before. Miss Valley Soldier is a tuner. It's a Wing Beast tuner. And it sits at 1700 attack. And basically, Miss Valley Soldier is good because it's level 4. It has a lot of synergy with your Harpie Lady cards. It pretty much, you can either use him for a level 8 synchro with a Harpie Lady, or you can use him for a rank 4 monster. with your Harpie Lady. So it's very versatile in that sense, and also his effect is pretty cool. I mean, if he attacks, like for example, a defense position Sand Maze, he's obviously not going to destroy it. So his effect kicks in that bounces a card. It pretty much sends the card that he attacked and did not destroy to the hand. So he would send a defense position Sand Maze back to the extra deck, which is pretty nice if you ask me. Then we got Delta Flyer, which is another tuner, another wind tuner, and this one's actually dragon. So that means that if Harpie Channeler is on the field, then you technically have a level 10 synchro right there. But the great thing about Delta Flyer is that he can also increase the level of another monster on the field by 1. So if you have a Harpie Channeler and you got Delta Flyer, you can increase Harpie Channeler's level by 1, and then you can technically summon Star Eater, which is, I don't know, give me a second, I have it right here. You can basically summon a Star Eater, which is a level 11 synchro dragon, by the way. And he appeared in Judgment of Light, so I'm pretty sure you guys are familiar with that. But yeah, you can make a Star Eater with Delta Flyer and Harpie Channeler, but you can also make level 8 synchros or level 7 synchros with your normal Harpie Lady cards. For example, Harpie Lady 3 with a Delta Flyer. You can either leave it like that and you can make an Ancient Fairy Dragon or a Black Rose Dragon. Or you could turn Harpie Lady number 3 into a level 5 monster and then make a level 8 synchro like Scrap Dragon, for example. Very cool card, has a lot of versatility. And the great thing is that he's wind, so Divine Wind of Mist Valley can summon him from the deck, but also Harpie Dancer can summon him from your hand. So it's very, very versatile. I really like this card. Then we got Tempest, Dragon Ruler of Storms, and pretty much Tempest is a very good card in this deck because it's basically he can provide a constant beater in your side of the field, or you can also enable your Harpie Channeler's effect when you don't have exactly any fodder to discard. Like you can use, if you have Harpie Channeler but you don't have any Harpie cards on to discard in your hand, but you have Tempest in your graveyard or in your hand, you can go Harpie Channeler, summon Tempest. You got Harpie Channeler now level 7 because Tempest is a dragon, and you can go into a rank 7 play like Big Eye, Dragossack, Master of Blades, or you can just use him as a beat stick. Like 2400 is pretty much a big number, so you can use him to like attack your opponent's life points. And he's also a floater, so he stays on the field, he goes back to your hand. You can use his effect to search cards for like Delta Flyer. You can search for Harpie's Pet Dragon. You can search for Harpie's Pet Baby Dragon. You know, his effect is also pretty usable in this deck. Aside from just being a beater, you can pretty much like use all the effects he has. The only thing that Tempest pretty much like has not synergy with our deck is the fact that he banishes wind monsters. So you have to be very careful which cards you actually banish. You don't necessarily want to banish Harpie Lady cards unless you have no other option. You generally just tend to banish any other wind monsters you have. For example, like Lightning Shidori, which is an XYZ we're going to be talking about a little more, and Dragossack, stuff like that. That's still wind, but it doesn't like interfere with future Hysteric Party play or something like that. Then we got Blackwing Sephiroth the Elite, and pretty much the great thing about Blackwing Sephiroth the Elite is he's Wing Beast monster, so he has synergy with cards like Icarus Attack, stuff like that, and his effect that bounces a card to your hand to summon him from the field is also really good, but because he pretty much provides instant field presence for the mere cost of 400 life points and bouncing a card from your field to your hand. He can actually do a lot of great combos thanks to this effect, but those are combos that we might be discussing in another video. But just so you guys have the general idea, is pretty much the thing behind Sephiroth is just having instant field presence, and that's it. Then we got Dragunity Dark Spear. Dragunity Dark Spear is it's pretty much like it's a tuner, a dragon tuner. But the thing behind Dragonuti Darkspear, what makes him special, is that his effect of tributing himself to revive a winged beast monster from your graveyard onto the field is very valuable in our deck. Like, if you have a Harpie Challenger in your field and you really want to make a Harpie Challenger play, but you don't have, like, and you have cards to discard and all that stuff, but you don't have a Harpie Challenger in your hand, but you have a Dark Spear, then you can summon Dark Spear, use this effect to bring back Harpie Challenger, and then do whatever play you need to do. So he's very good. He's also he pretty much, like, example, if you need a Harpie Dancer from your graveyard, you can summon a Harpie Dancer. If you need a Harpie Queen, you can summon a Harpie Queen. He pretty much, Dark Spear translates into another Harpie Lady, pretty much. And the fact that he's a tuner and he's level 3, he can enable stuff like Black Rose, he can enable stuff like Ancient Fairy Dragon if you really need to. And he's also Dragon, so he will turn Harpie Challenger into a level 7, and then he can make a level 10 Synchro or something like that. 1 second here, doing a little. And then next card we got Mist Valley Falcon. A lot of people use Mist Valley Falcon because they want to bounce back some cards. For example, if you want to bounce back Harpie's Hunting Ground, if you want to bounce back Hysteric Sign, which we'll be going over in the next video, if you want to bounce like any continuous cards like Hysteric Party, or Affinity Shane, stuff like that, or possibly even if your card even runs it, bounce back a Mirror Wall, stuff like that. But basically, the thing about Mist Valley Falcon is pretty much sending cards that are face up on the field back to your hand so that he can attack. And he's also at 2,000, so that's pretty much a pretty big beat stick right there. And he's Winged Beast, so he gets powered up by the Hunting Ground, which will put him at 2,200. Also, Mist Valley Falcon has great synergy with Divine Wind of Mist Valley, which I have it like right over here. Also, it has great synergy with Divine Wind of Mist Valley. Things, if you send a wind monster to your hand, so when he attacks, then Divine Wind of Mist Valley will activate and will summon a wind monster from your deck, possibly a Harpie. But yeah, aside from that, people generally just use him for a beat stick. He's actually very commonly seen in control builds where you use a lot of Fiendish Chains, Call the Hunt, stuff like that, and you will use Mist Valley Falcon to reuse all those cards. We got Cock-a-Doodle-Doo. Not a lot of people use this, but those that do, they have found like a lot of cool plays with it. The fact is that Cock-a-Doodle-Doo pretty much, sorry if I was a little zoom there. Cock-a-Doodle-Doo is pretty much like a very versatile tuner. He can be either level 5, level 4, level 3, depending on what you do. If you have, 1 second, sorry. If there are no monsters in the field, you can special summon this card as a level 3 monster. If your opponent controls a monster but you don't control a monster, then you can special summon it as a level 4 monster. And obviously if you tribute summon a monster and you summon him like normal summon, like a normal summon, then he will be a level 5. But yeah, he's like pretty versatile. He's wind, so it's like he has synergy with stuff. Then we got Gen X Ally Birdman. Gen X Ally Birdman is another tuner. No, the fact is that he's a very easy to summon because the only thing you need to do is put a face-up monster on the field that you control back to your hand, and you will special summon him. So basically, like for example, you do Harpie Challenger into Harpie's Pet Dragon. You put the Pet Dragon back to your hand, and you summon this, and you go with Harpie Challenger and this, and you make a Ancient Fairy Dragon or a Black Rose Dragon, whatever you need. But you know, stuff like that. It's pretty cool. He also has great synergy with Divine Wind of Mist Valley. Then we got Dark Simorgh, and I'm gonna actually put the last 2 cards also here, because pretty much Dark Simorgh is a really powerful tool you can use in the Harpie decks. Some Harpie decks use it, and they usually either run Kage or they run Ninja Grandmaster Hanzo in order for this card to be useful. Those that run Kage, they use it because you summon a Harpie Lady and you summon a Kage, and you pretty much overlay them and turn into a pretty much like you turn them into like King Pharaoh Imps, and you discard the Kage or you discard the Harpie Lady, and you get another Kageto from your deck, and then you have a dark monster and a wind monster in the field, and you summon Dark Simorgh, stuff like that. For those that use Ninja Grandmaster Hanzo, they will like summon Ninja Grandmaster Hanzo. They will search for the trap card that is Ninjutsu Art of Transformation, and they will set it alongside with Grandmaster Hanzo, and then their opponent's turn they will like activate it, and they will summon Dark Simorgh from your deck. Stuff like that. But pretty much it's Dark Simorgh, like it's a decent boss monster you can use alongside your Harpie Ladies. But the only thing with Dark Simorgh is that you have to dedicate Darks into your deck. But that shouldn't be hard with the last card we're gonna discuss, which is pretty much Summoner Monk, which sadly I have it in my tin somewhere around there, but I'm not gonna search for it. But here it is, Summoner Monk. Now the thing is, Summoner Monk is really cool because you discard a spell card from your hand and you summon any level 4 monster from your deck. And the fact is that all our Harpie Ladies are level 4, so you can summon Harpie Lady 1, 2, 3, Harpie Lady Vanilla. He can summon Cyber Harpie Lady. He can summon Harpie Channeler. He can summon Harpie Dancer. Summon Harpie Queen. Pretty much any Harpie card from our deck. And at the cost of 1 spell card. And the great thing about it is that Summoner Monk has a lot of synergy with Hysteric Sign. And basically the synergy between Summoner Monk and Hysteric Sign is that you discard a Hysteric Sign and it's considered sent to the graveyard from the hand. So you can activate Hysteric Sign's effect in the end phase and search for 3 Harpie Lady cards from your deck to your hand. So that's pretty cool. And you know, Summoner Monk, I mean, I personally not using him anymore, but a lot of people actually use this card. And one of the people, as I'm making this video, one of the recent people that used this card got a 9-3 on the YCS London. So shout out there for using Summoner Monk and getting that far. To Rainbow Dragon, if I'm not mistaken. So shout out to Rainbow Dragon. And basically, Summoner Monk's pretty good. I mean, the only risk that I would say when you use Summoner Monk, and that's the reason I stopped using him, is because there was a lot of Max C and a lot of Effect Baitler going around, and that's the only reason why I didn't use it. But if you're like if you're locals or your regionals, if you're expecting not a lot of Max C or Effect Baitler usage, then go ahead, use Summoner Monk. Summoner Monk's going to be really good in your deck. It pretty much is a solid card. It summons all the Harpie cards in your deck from your deck to the field, provides instant field presence, gets options for XYZ and stuff like that. So it's pretty much a solid card. There's honestly there's very little reasons not to run this. Alright, last but not least, I'm going to be going through some of the notable extra deck cards that we play in the Harpie deck. And I'm going to put them all over here. Aside from the staples, like for example Diamond Direwolf, Maestro, stuff like that, these 4 XYZs right here stand like they stand apart from basically Harpie Lady's XYZ staples or Harpie Lady extra deck staples. First things first, Harpie Lady's Harpie's Pet Fantasmal Dragon, or Dragón Fantasmal Mascota de la Arpía in Spanish. And basically Harpie's Pet Fantasmal Dragon is pretty much a 3 material wind XYZ monster. It requires 3 wind monsters, level 4. And basically what he does is he can attack directly as long as he has an XYZ material on him, and also as long as he has an XYZ material on him, he cannot be targeted or attacked by monsters, or he cannot be targeted by card effects, and so are your Harpie Ladies. Like your Harpie Ladies are immune to being attacked, and they are immune to being targeted by card effects, as long as this guy has material attached to him. And basically, Harpie's Pet Fantasmal Dragon is pretty much one of our boss monsters. It's one of the go-to cards to finish a duel. I personally use him as a duel finisher, like when I'm very sure that the duel is about to end and I have to like seal it. I use I use a Harpie Phantasmal Dragon and my extra deck for that very same reason. When I summon him, it's because I'm very sure that I'm gonna end the duel right there, and it pretty much only takes 1 or 2 attacks from him to seal the duel. It's pretty much when I'm sure that my opponent has no answers for this. But basically, a standalone Harpie's Pet Dragon is pretty difficult to get rid of, unless you have like a Dark Hole, Mirror Force, or a Black Rose Dragon and stuff like that. But aside from that, he cannot be attacked. He cannot be targeted by effects. It's pretty tough to get him out of here. And then you have Lightning Chidori, which is also pretty much our staple XYZ. It's one of the most powerful XYZs you can use, thanks to the fact that it requires 2 wind monsters to use. And basically, Lightning Chidori has 2 effects. The first one is when he is XYZ summoned, he sends a set card, basically a face down card, like this. He sends it to the bottom of the deck. And then his second effect is that he detaches an XYZ material from him and he sends a face-up card like this to the top of the deck. Okay, so basically Lightning Chidori is used to disrupt a lot of plays your opponent might have. For example, if your opponent has a Mirror Force, you can send it to the bottom of the deck. And if your opponent has like some card that you want him to like top deck, for example like draw again, and basically like disrupt his turn, then you can use Lightning Chidori's second effect to send that card to the top of the deck, and then next turn he has to forcefully draw that card. Like for example, if you're going against Gravekeepers and you already have a really good control of the field, and you want them to not top deck a monster, and they have a face up Necro Valley on the field, then you get that Necro Valley and you send it to the top of the deck, and then next turn they're going to draw a Necro Valley. They're not going to draw anything else, and you're probably in a winning situation right there. So Chidori is a very powerful card in our deck, in our extra deck, and it has to be run at multiple numbers. Then we got Ice Beast Seraphine. Now the thing about Ice Beast Seraphine is she has a very powerful effect in the fact that when she detaches an XYZ material, she negates the effects of all face-up cards your opponents control, and then on top of that she gains 300 attack points for every face-up card on the field, not just your opponent's, your field as well. So if you have any face-up Hysteric Signs, Hysteric Parties, Fiendish Chains, your field spell, any face-up cards, any other Harpie Lady cards face-up on the field, you use Seraphine and he's going to gain a lot of attack points. And on top of that, he's going to negate every other card your opponent has face-up on the field, not just until end of turn, but until your next turn. And by the way, his requirements are 2 Wing Beast level 4 monsters. Be very noteful about that. And finally, we got Queen Dragoon Dijin. Queen Dragoon Dijin, the great thing about Queen Dragoon Dijin is that she can revive cards like Harpie's Pet Dragon, and she can also revive cards like Tempest. So basically, if you want, for example, if you have 2 Harpie Ladies and a Harpie Chandler, and you want to do like something with them, well, you can take the 2 Harpie Ladies and turn them into a Queen Dragoon Dijin, and then use Queen Dragoon Dijin's effect to summon a Harpie's Pet Dragon or a Tempest from the graveyard. And then Harpie Chandler will be level 7, and you can do something with Harpie Chandler and then pretty much do a double XYZ play that turn. But pretty much aside from that, the other effect that she has, kind of cool, not used a lot, but it's kind of cool, is the fact that as long as she's face up on the field, other dragon monsters cannot be destroyed by battle except Queen Dragoon Dijin. But definitely, I honestly recommend this card. It's a definite staple due to the plays that she can pretty much make in a turn when she is summoned. And also, she's dark and she's 2200, so she will be like a great target for cards like Deck Devastation Virus and stuff like that. So really much, there's no reason not to run this card. And then finally, the last 2 are obviously Big Eye and Mecha Phantom Beast Dragossack. I mean, there shouldn't be any explanation as to why you shouldn't run these cards. I mean, Big Eye pretty much is like a change of heart. His effect, you take a monster forever, you take one of your opponent's monsters and control it forever. And Mecha Phantom Beast Dragossack, you know, when he detaches, you make 2 tokens. As long as those tokens are on the field, he cannot be destroyed. He can sacrifice a token, or he can sacrifice himself to destroy a card on the field. I mean, great card overall. I mean, Basically, your extra deck should consist of one of each, and then one of Queen Dragoon Jean, one of Ice Beast Seraphine, 2 to 3 of Chidori, and 1 to 2 of Harpie's Pet Phantasmal Dragon. And then the rest of the cards, you can put in stuff like level 8s like Colossal Fighter, Stardust Dragon, Crimson Blader, Scrap Dragon. You can put in level 7s like Black Rose, Ancient Fairy, or you can put like rank 4 staples like, for example, Diamond Dire Wolf, Maestro, Utopia, God Cowboy, stuff like that. But yeah, that pretty much sums up all the monsters that we use in our Harpie deck. I'm putting all the, and I'm gonna be putting Damarapia here for the final thoughts. Pretty much, yeah, like I said, that sums up all the Harpie cards that you'll be using in a Harpie deck. The next video I'm gonna be making will be going over the spells and traps that most Harpie decks use, and some stuff that, you know, it might seem cool to use and has a lot of synergy with the deck. But I really hope that you enjoyed this video, that it helped you in any way in pretty much going the right direction of making a Harpie deck. And I hope that the other videos that are about to come are also going to help you in making that Harpie deck of your dreams and using it at your locals or your next regionals or possibly an even bigger event. So definitely that's all for now, and until next time, the next episode of The Hunting Ground. Thank you.